Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Outer Rim Cantina. My name is Alan and today I wanted to talk a little bit about Rey and what I think her purpose is in the sequel trilogy, episode 9, and what her purpose and place is in the Skywalker Saga as a whole. So, let's just get into it, shall we? So, does Rey fulfill another ancient prophecy like Anakin did? I don't think so. I could talk all day about what I think the cosmic force means, does, and how it controls and manipulates everything, but the bottom line is that I don't believe Rey fulfills another prophecy we haven't heard of. If she doesn't fulfill another prophecy, then what is she doing here? Even though I don't think she fulfills another prophecy, her purpose, at least to me, is pretty clear. She's meant to bring Ben Solo back to the light and maintain the balance that Luke and Anakin restored decades before. Star Wars has always been about balance, and that balance has always been tested in each of the three trilogies. In the prequels, the balance was disrupted by Darth Sidious and the start of the Clone War, which drove the Jedi off their path and their main mission as protectors. In the originals, the balance was tested by the Empire and their iron grip on the galaxy. The balance was eventually corrected by Anakin with the help of Luke. After that, the Force was in balance for nearly 30 years until the rise and conquering of the First Order and the reveal of Snoke. With a dark power rising in the galaxy once again, Luke was unable to correct the balance. When it came to Vader, Luke had built up an image of his father in his head and felt like he could do no evil. That ultimately led to Luke's dedication to redeem Vader. With Kylo, Luke knew that he had to act to save the galaxy from destruction and preserve the balance. However, his instinct to snuff out the darkness by killing Ben only led to Ben developing a hatred so deep for Luke that there was no way Luke could save him. Now, in my opinion, this is where Rey comes in. I strongly believe, unless Episode 9 proves me wrong, that Rey was in some way chosen by the cosmic force to do what Luke was unable to. Preserve and restore the balance. The cosmic force gave her the ability to connect with Ben the way no one else could, except for maybe Snoke. Along with this, I also don't believe Rey is really a Jedi in the same way Kylo isn't really a Sith. Now, let's look at her path so far in the sequel trilogy. She started out alone in a desert, wearing old, tattered, and dirty clothes. She already had survival experience from her years of living and surviving alone, as well as a sense of something greater around her. Almost like Anakin in Episode 1 when he was able to pod race at 9 years old, which was something no human had been able to do before. The parallels to Anakin seen in Rey lead me further to believe that she was indeed chosen by the cosmic force to fulfill a purpose, but not necessarily a prophecy. Anakin, being the chosen one and fulfilling the ancient prophecy to restore balance, had natural talents and abilities that he was able to subconsciously do and use without really any proper training beforehand. Rey, in her survival instincts and skills, demonstrates this in the same, but also different way. The next part is where a lot of people lose their interest in Rey and see nothing but lazy and bad storytelling. I have my own opinions about that, and if you're interested, you can watch the video I uploaded Tuesday where I talked about things like this. In The Force Awakens, Rey has no proper Jedi training until she's being interrogated by Kylo. In the moment when he attempts to get inside her head, something awakens inside of Rey. That's the point where their connection was formed, and during the interrogation is when Rey was able to absorb Kylo's knowledge of the Force and lightsaber training for a moment. And I know that part is where a lot of people have some of their biggest issues with the sequel trilogy and with The Force Awakens, like how that particular thing, which is a pretty big plot driver, isn't really explained in the film. You have to read the novelization of The Force Awakens to be able to get that part and understand how she was suddenly able to do all these things with the Force and suddenly able to use a lightsaber and all this. But yeah, like I said, I have my own opinions about that I talked about on Tuesday, and you can go watch that video if you're interested. Now, that scene leads directly into The Last Jedi, when Rey is practicing her lightsaber techniques on Ahch-To. If you notice, Rey does the same moves as Kylo at the end of the movie when he's fighting Luke on Crate, because, again, Rey just kind of took what was in Kylo's brain and just kind of sucked it out of him, which is a new and frankly really cool force power that we haven't seen before. In The Last Jedi, when Rey is searching for a purpose and her belonging, she wears gray clothes to symbolize her indecision on which side to choose, the light or the dark. Throughout the movie, she explores both sides of the Force, the light side with Luke on Ahch-To, the dark side with the Force vision and tunnel scene, and her purpose when she connects with Kylo through the Force once again. And all of this happens in the same place, on the same island on Ahch-To. All of these events ultimately lead her on her own journey, not one governed by Luke or Kylo, but a journey of self, where she encounters the dark side in Snoke first, and the imbalance inside Ben firsthand. At the end of the film is when she finally realizes that her purpose is to restore the balance of the Force in whatever way she can. Now, I'm not entirely sure how she will go about this in 9, but if the leaks tell us anything, it's that she won't be killing Ben or most likely anyone else, at least judging by her all-white robes in this leaked image. In the end, this is all speculation and my personal takeaway from both sequel films so far. I think Rey is a great character, and one that sends a message of, you don't need to belong to some special family or be destined to fulfill a prophecy to be chosen by the cosmic force for something great. That can happen to anyone for any reason because, as stated multiple times before, the Force works in mysterious ways. These movies have just added to the mysteries of the Force that we haven't fully discovered yet, and maybe never will. But as I always say, the great thing about Star Wars is that everyone sees it differently, and there's no right or wrong way to interpret it. If you have a different view, opinion, or theory about Rey's purpose in the sequel trilogy, Episode 9, and the Skywalker Saga as a whole, feel free to sound off down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And that is all I had for this video. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of theory and speculation video. If you did, slap a like on it, get subscribed if you aren't already for more awesome Star Wars content, and I will see you guys on Saturday for another news roundup. Until then, may the Force be with you.